All right. Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Jason, how are you doing today?
Good, Jimmy. How are you?
Doing good.
Uh, so check this out. The other day, what day was it?
The other day.
The other day. But what was I doing? I don't remember. Um, Maybe it was Monday night or Tuesday. I don't remember. Anyway, at one point during the day, we're running the air conditioner because it's 90 degrees outside. It's hot. Then later on, it was Monday night. Later on, weather gets cooler. We get a little bit of moisture. It gets cold. So I had to flip on the heater. It's like one day in Colorado, the same day in Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yep.
use your AC and your furnace all on the same day. It's
Oh, yeah.
crazy, you know. We'll be switching back to the AC probably this weekend, you know. But, that was crazy.
Hi, Alice. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Alice.
We're
Hi,
just
Susan.
we're gonna give everybody a few minutes to get logged in here. Susan, you should be able to comment now.
Able to before.
All right. Well, Jason, I think we're getting everybody logging in here, so let's get going.
Very good, very good. There's always something new to learn. Here in Rogue Kitchen, we learn by playing with our food. It's Rogue Kitchen Live. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you again for joining us. It's kind of a little bit chilly out there. It's cold. We got some flakes that are falling every now and again. Today's recipe doesn't really fit the temperature, but this weekend, oh, it's going to be great for this weekend. Today, we've got a super chill blueberry soup. It's like super chill. And then along with that, we've got some lemon bars. You know, lemon bars seem kind of simple and kind of basic, but you know, this recipe I think is a great recipe. It's one of those again where I learned it years ago, and you know, it's funny how you learn these recipes and then you go ask the chef of the kitchen, hey, where's that recipe for lemon bars? He hands you the professional pastry chef cookbook, and he's like, here, it's in here. And he's like, wow, it's not even really his recipe, but it's a very tried and true recipe, and we'll kind of walk through the crust on that. We'll talk about some blind baking, what it is and why we do it, and why it's a good idea to do it. Lemon curd itself, we'll talk about that. We don't put any butter into it, but the recipe that is posted online there says to cook it over a water bath, like a double boiler. But I'll show you how to do it straight in the pan there, so you don't have to worry about sitting there stirring it in the bowl forever. And it takes like 2 or 3 minutes right in the pot. It goes straight in. In this particular recipe, we take the crust out of the oven hot, and we put the hot custard directly into it, and we pop it right back into the oven there. So it's all kind of, just kind of a bam, bam, bam. Everything's kind of done in one fell swoop there. And then along with that, we'll talk about the blueberry soup. We still have some warm weather coming up, but I like fruit soups. We have this blueberry soup. We're gonna put a little bit of citrus into it, some orange, a little bit of lemon, some sour cream, and a little bit of ginger as well. And then
Susan says she loves fruit soups too, so this is the one for her.
In the same place I learned the blueberry soup. We also did a cantaloupe soup, which was really great, and then we also did an apple pie soup. So it was a cold apple pie. We made our own little puff pastry dough, cut little shapes out of it, and put the dough in the soup. And of course, when you take a spoonful, it tastes just like an apple pie. Sometimes, Jimmy, I don't know about you, but I like dishes like that, where it's like, okay, here's an apple pie soup, but it doesn't have the texture or the look at all of an apple pie, but it tastes just like an apple pie. I think those are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of food things that I like to do. So, all right. So without further ado, go ahead and get started on this. So let me pull the mixer over here a little bit. you can see that in the camera here, but and just again, just as a reminder, we are here in the Hospitality Learning Center. We are on the demo theater today, and again, doors are locked. I am the only one in here, so I don't have my face mask on, and of course, I've got my sanitizing products over here. And so, at the end of the day, when I'm done, all these surfaces here that I've touched will be sprayed down and sanitized. All right, so sure that everybody is aware of that. So, all right. So on this crust here, right, we've got 4 ounces or 5 ounces of cubed butter. Okay, this can be cold or it can be room temperature. It doesn't really matter for this because we will. The dough is chilled a little bit, but today we're going to go kind of from the mixing bowl straight into our pan. All right, and I'm just going to press the dough into the pan there. We've got 4 ounces of dark brown sugar here. I like using the dark brown sugar because it has more of that molasses flavor. I like that. It has a little bit more moisture to it, so I like doing that. So what I'm going to do here with the butter and the sugars, I'm going to cream the two together. All right, so creaming is a mixing method, okay, where you like for cookies, you incorporate air into the butter. We don't have any power here.
No power.
And
did you forget to plug it in?
There we go. We got power. All right. But here we're making butter and brown sugar basically like one homogeneous mixture. Okay, one single mixture. All right. So if your butter is if it's really cold, you're gonna have lumps of butter in your crust, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But it can also
but you typically want to use that more for like biscuits and the biscuit method, right?
Now with this particular this recipe, you could definitely use you could use a pie crust or something. But what I'm doing here is similar to a shortbread recipe. All right, so we're just gonna cream these
shortbread's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we're just gonna mix these two ingredients here together, and probably have to scrape down the bowl a little bit. Kind of using a larger bowl here with a smaller amount of product here. It's all right. So now we've got a pretty good homogeneous mixture here. We'll scrape down our paddle here a bit. All right, but that's kind of what you're looking for there. Use that guy there.
All right, hold on. Let me switch real quick.
Yeah, brown sugar and butter there.
There we go. So yeah, we got the brown sugar, we got the butter, and then just everything. And so that brown sugar kind of helps like break up that butter a little bit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And also it'll give you a crust tanginess as well. In this particular recipe too, it's the first time I tried it, it was like, man, this is like eating like a baked toffee or something. It tasted just like toffee to me. I'm going to add 1 egg here. This will help give us some moisture, and it'll also help set our crust as well. So, but the more and more I got to thinking about this crust, like wow, all the ingredients that are in here, with the exception of the egg, is very similar to like a crumble. So and there are recipes too where you make a crumble with brown sugar, butter, flour, oats, nuts. And you press that into the bottom of your pan, and you bake it. And it comes out kind of like a crispy shortbread, or kind of like a cookie there. So, all right. So we just want to mix these two ingredients here together to make sure everything is well incorporated. And at this point, I'll go ahead and scrape down the bowl here. Or spatula here. My favorite kitchen tools again. Right.
Yeah. You gotta have a good rubber spatula.
I agree, man. A good.
As Jackson calls it, the $1 million kitchen utensil.
Yeah, that's a fact. You can find these things on Amazon too. You don't have to go to a restaurant supply house to get them.
But if you do want to go to Restaurant Supply House, the restaurant stores by Barger and Ellenson off of 52nd and Washington, I think, has awesome prices and open to the public.
And I think Cresco over on 6th and 225.
Yep, Cresco too.
They sell to the public too. So, all right, so we're just going to mix these two together here for just a couple of seconds here. I'm going to stop the mixer and lower the bowl because I'm going to be adding my flour. We don't want to dump in our flour while our paddle is going and flour goes everywhere, right? It becomes a mess. We don't get all the product in there, right? And I'm using bread flour here, okay? And that's a little bit sturdier as far as the protein content, and it gives our crust more of a structure when we bake it because we're going to be putting a wet liquid on top, and it'll help us with that structure a little bit more. So now,
because so you want it to be a little bit more sturdy because you're putting all that liquid in there, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because typically you want to use like a pastry flour, right?
Pastry, or even like an all-purpose or something. But using bread flour, and because we're using bread flour, we want this to come together fairly quickly, so we don't want to overmix it. Okay, and if we overmix it, our crust will shrink, and then of course we'll have a fairly tough product. So 3, 2, 1 here, and that's really about it. Right, so now
and that's where making sure everything's really well creamed beforehand is important, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want big chunks of butter in there because, if you have big chunks of butter, especially with this recipe, and then you add your flour in there and you try to bust up those chunks of butter, you're going to be over mixing that flour. Definitely don't want that. All right. Yeah, this smells.
All right, we got Crystal Elliott joining us and Carol Kirkman. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Carol. Hi, Crystal. All right, so if you're just joining us, I've just made our crust for our lemon bars here. We took butter and brown sugar and creamed it. All right, combined the two together so that we kind of make our butter and our sugar one homogeneous mixture. Then we added bread flour to it. Really all we need to do. So now I just need to kind of scrape all this stuff down. So now we have this going on here. So it almost looks just like it looked before. It was just the butter and the brown sugar. But now it's more of a dough. So
nice, and it's still malleable. Like you can kind of press it into. You're going to press it into the pan, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'll press it into the pan here. That should be fun. All right. So my mixer over here. So here I'm just using just a simple pan here. You can use a larger 9x13 or something. Okay, but take this guy out. Kind of flatten it a little bit here. We've got some chunks of brown sugar in there.
This is kind of a fun part for kids. Kind of like Play-Doh.
Yeah.
Give them the pan, give them the dough, and they're occupied for 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to make double the dough though. They'll sit there and eat it.
Yeah, that's a fact. They definitely want to play with it. And when you do this, you definitely want the crust to come up. Let's go ahead and come over here, Jimmy, underneath the phone here.
Yeah.
You definitely want it to come up the edges a little bit. You want to create a box, if you will, for the custard to sit into. Okay, even though we'll end up cutting off the edges, but we don't want our custard to flow between the crust and the pan.
Yeah, you want the custard to stay on top, and so you're just creating a little pool, little wall, so it doesn't flow around the sides.
Yep. Okay. Don't play with it too much. Had a That chef once asked me, "Are you playing with the dough?" No. You sure are getting handsy with it. You sure you're not dating it?
No, chef. Just being a perfectionist, chef.
Yeah. Never cracked a smile either. Totally, totally
You know
serious.
you're smiling inside.
Yeah. Okay. This will, because there's so much butter in here, it'll pull away from the pan a little bit. Right? That's really all you want to do there.
Now,
Yeah.
real quick, Jason, did you have to spray the pan or anything, or is there enough butter in there that it'll release on its own?
Yeah, you should. I mean, this is a nonstick pan, and there's plenty of butter in here. Um, but if you're using a pan that's not nonstick, it would be a good idea to put like a piece of parchment paper down, or if you make enough of this, for a pan that fits a silicone pad, you can just press it right onto the silicone pads, or chill it and then roll it into a rectangle and put it onto the silicone pad.
But please don't cut on the silicone pad when you take it off.
Definitely don't do that. You'll ruin it.
It's the worst.
Okay, so we've got our crust there. So now we're going to blind bake this. And what that means is that we're going to bake it without anything in it. Okay, well, why do we want to do that? Well, because when we cook our custard, we're only going to be cooking it for a short period of time, and it's not going to cook long enough for, to cook the custard and to cook the crust. If we were to cook the custard and the crust together like this, we'd end up cracking our custard. Okay, and we don't want to do that. So we want to kind of par cook our crust. Okay, a lot of times when you do quiches, in fact, next week when we continue our brunch theme and we do a quiche, all right, we will blind bake our crust as well. All right, and that allows for us to get a nice golden brown crust, crispy crust on there. And when we add that liquid in, we get a crispy crust and the liquid's cooked as well. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I just take a piece of foil like so, right? And you can use pie weights, right? Or you can use dried beans. Word of warning though, don't ever eat the beans after you use them as pie weights.
I've never cooked them after using them as pie weights. What happens?
They smell bad as it is. I think they would just taste awful. All right, so we'll make sure that those are down in there. And we don't want to press it down either because we do not want that foil to stick to our crust. Okay. All right, so we're going to bake this now for about 15 minutes. This is about how long it'll take us to make the custard. I'm just going to pop this guy straight in. All right. And we will set a timer here. Set timer, and we'll do 15 minutes. Okay. That's this. Is that 5 hours, Jimmy?
I hope not. I'm not hanging out here for 5 hours, Jason. Here, I'll start a timer for you. 5 minutes?
15 minutes. I think I got it. I think I went for 15 hours there. And just...
All right, we'll double check it.
Okay, so on the custard.
Redundancies.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so on the custard here, Jimmy, I'm going to stay on the phone camera here for a second. All right, so I've got 6 eggs, and I've got 2 yolks in here. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay.
So now 6 whole eggs and then 2 extra yolks.
2 extra yolks. That's correct. Yeah, there's 2 extra yolks. Okay, provide us a nice little fat content, so we get a nice creamy, mouthfeel on our lemon bars there. Okay, but we also have those egg whites in there to help set our custard mixture there. Right?
And the whites are what give it the texture, really, right?
Yeah, exactly. They also help set. So there we go. And then
there we go.
I've got some vanilla extract in here as well.
Now, how much vanilla extract?
Like half a teaspoon or so. We don't need too much.
Okay. Perfect.
So here, the process to do this. Right, we get our pan on here. We gotta unlock our stovetop here. There we go. All right, we turned it on. We'll just go to high. Turn it down here. I'll keep it on high. Just keep it on. Okay. So I've got 1.5 cups of lemon juice here, which was from 8 lemons. Okay. And in that juice, I also have the zest of 2 lemons. So before you cut into your lemons, zest 2 of them, put it in the container, cut your lemons in half, then juice them. Okay. And then you can put the juice and the zest right in the same container.
Yeah. And you're adding them at the same time, correct?
That's correct. Yep. Adding at the same time. So we just get that going in our pot there.
Jason, I don't know if it's the camera, an illusion, but it looks like the pan's still not on.
Yeah. No,
I just see it flashing here.
Oh, that is weird. Oh, I see that on the screen. It's definitely on
Oh,
here.
okay, so yeah, it's definitely a camera thing then.
Oh, sorry about that. Wow, that's crazy.
Oh no, that's all right. I just wanted to make sure you're cooking with heat.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's make sure that we're hot. Yep, it's hot. Okay. So we've got our lemon juice and our zest in there. Right. To that, we're going to add sugar here. Right. I don't remember off the top of my head how much sugar, but add our sugar here. We'll just kind of stir that about here a little bit, start to dissolve that sugar. Right. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring this up to heat. Okay. We'll throw our eggs into a bowl. We'll whisk the 2 together, and then we will temper our eggs with our hot mixture. I'll talk about tempering here in just a second. Okay, stir this around, get the sugar nice and dissolved. And now I'm starting to hear it here. Now we want 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, right? And that cornstarch will help set our lemon bars as well, along with our egg yolks. And you get a little bit of clumpiness there sometimes, and all right, it'll all dissolve here in a bit. And if anything doesn't dissolve, we can strain out there. It looks like we've got it's dissolving nicely here. This is what I love about induction, Jimmy, is that it comes up to a boil very fast.
It does, and you can control the heat so well with it.
Yeah, you can control the heat on induction just like you can gas, but you don't have that open flame. All right. Now at this point, you could, if you wanted to add like a little bit of liqueur or something like that, maybe like an orange liqueur, you could do that, but we don't want to add too much to it because then that offsets the liquid to egg ratio. So,
yeah, and then it won't set as well, right?
that's correct. Yeah. So now keep in mind with hot liquids, as soon as cornstarch hits hot liquids, it begins the thickening process. Okay, so as you can see,
so that cornstarch kind of gives you a head start on the thickening because you're gonna thicken your liquid and sweeten it and get all that sugar melted and turn it into a syrup. And then the eggs are what make the custard texture.
That's exactly right. Yeah. All right. So at this point now, we've got our sugar dissolved, our cornstarch is dissolved, our liquid's hot. I'm going to pull that off the heat here really quick. Let's turn this off. And then what I'll do here is I'm going to whisk up our eggs, and I'll temper our eggs. Okay. Now, what is tempering? Why do we temper eggs or egg products? Well, if we were to dump our eggs directly into our hot liquid, we would have scrambled eggs. Right? But
just like when you're poaching eggs, you drop your eggs straight in the hot liquid, and they instantly that white seizes up and firms up.
The protein starts to cook and coagulate, and you immediately start to cook your eggs. But with tempering, what we'll do is we will pour this hot liquid slowly into our eggs, and that helps slowly bring up the temperature of the eggs so we don't cook them right away. Okay? And then that gets our eggs to a nice warm temperature. That way when we go back to the pot, okay, it's less time on the heat, okay, and because they're already warm, they won't immediately start to scramble if you put them opposed to if you were to put them straight in cold, right? All right, so the liquid's hot here. That makes sense. So now, just like we would emulsifying here, We're going to slowly pour in our liquid. All right, kind of like a hollandaise.
Yep. Now, if you got weak wrists, go ahead and use a ladle instead of trying to grab the whole pan like Jason.
Yeah, sorry. You can definitely use a ladle and slowly pour it in. All right. And as you add more of the hot liquid, you can add more at a time. You add it all in. See, now we don't have scrambled eggs. See, it's make sure
And
that
if you go too fast, then you'll start to see little yellow dots start to form, and it starts to bind up, and it gets a little grainy. But we got a nice, good, clean, clear liquid here.
just like that. And here we have a nice, clean, clear liquid. Okay. Now we'll go put our pan back on the heat. Okay. Turn down the heat here a little bit. Then pour our mixture straight in our pot here. Scrape all that off. We want all that goodness in there. And this is where you really have to keep an eye on it. And keep a rubber spatula around just in case. All right. Here you kind of have to constantly stir, because if you don't, again, you'll just end up with a scrambled lemon flavored egg. All right.
Yeah, and that texture is the worst when you have that grainy texture with all the egg scrambled in there.
Well, and plus with the amount of sugar that's in here too, if you start to get those little pieces in there, you can take it off the heat and just kind of stir it really fast, and it'll break up and kind of smooth out a little bit. One thing you have to watch with these kind of pots, because we have these square corners in here, and this custards like to hide in those little corners. That's where you start to really get scrambled eggs. And you definitely want to
You can grab that spatula that you're talking about. Use that to get in the corners.
Yeah, definitely. If we have any hiding in there. Well, not yet. Turn up the heat here a bit. Right. And once those eggs start hiding in the corners, man, they grab a hold of everything else, and then you just get scrambled eggs. So we want to.
Yeah, and it's kind of one of those things, like it builds up in the corner, and then it just keeps going, and like everything kind of heats up around it.
Yeah. I can see you can visually see this here as you continue to cook it, it's getting thicker, and we really want the consistency of honey in here. So now what we're shooting for here on our liquid.
And what's the culinary term? Nappe? Is that what you're going for?
Yeah. I don't have a spoon with me.
You got a spatula though.
Yeah, this is definitely I think we did it for the ice cream, right?
Yep, we did.
Yeah, so now we're exactly where we need to be here with this. Okay. So now we're thick. All right. You can see here we're this guy off. All right. If we put up our spatula here, draw a line through it. See how
there we go.
Move there. Okay. That is exactly where we need to be. So we can pull that off the heat, right? Just kind of keep it moving here a little bit as we check our crust, and we'll go over here to the oven.
Yeah, and you do want to stir it every once in a while, just because it's out the heat doesn't mean it's done cooking, because the pot will, especially heavy bottom pots like what you have there, are going to hold the heat, and so you definitely want to keep coming back to it and stirring it and making sure it's not cooking up on the bottom there.
Yeah, definitely. We're still good. We're still nice and smooth on here.
And if you're in a hurry, you can throw it on some ice, like get a little ice bath going and drop the top on there, and cool it down just a touch.
It's and also it can be a good idea too to rinse out the bowl here really quick. If you have the tools at home, you can put this through a strainer like this.
Yep. And so if you did get any sort of scrambling, you can still put it through the strainer and it'll collect some of that stuff.
Yeah,
And then even as you push it through, it'll kind of emulsify it in there.
to be honest with you too, Jimmy, you know, I had some lemon seeds in here. I noticed when I put this in the pot. So
Well, there you go. You just plan on doing this, and then you're good to go.
yeah, that's right. This will strain out those seeds, but you can see this is a little bit more translucent, more like a lemon meringue texture, like a lemon feeling of a meringue.
Yeah, like a lemon curd. Whereas like with the ice cream that we did last time, it was the heavy cream, so it was nice and thick and creamy.
Well, and too, you know, if you were to make just lemon curd, you know, you stir in the butter so it looks creamier.
Yep.
This has more of a clear look to it. So use a rubber spatula here to kind of push that through. Got either some egg whites here or maybe some cornstarch that didn't dissolve all the way. Definitely have some lemon seeds there. So. And again, we've taken it out of that hot pot, and put it into a cooler bowl.
Yep.
Change the temperature a little bit on it and kind of prevented it from overcooking there. So, all right. Now we'll just strain it out. There we go. Okay. So now we can set that aside. And we can, let me check our crust here. We've got about
you got 2 minutes.
2 minutes left on the crust here. Okay. Now I'm sure if you wanted, you could probably add some butter to this. But again, you're adding fat content that won't necessarily set up when it bakes. So if you were to add some fat, maybe you add like 4 to 6 tablespoons or maybe 4 tablespoons of butter. You might want to add like 1 more egg to it. Or, instead of adding 2 yolks to it, you'd add, 7 whole eggs and 1 yolk. Maybe a few tablespoons of butter. That'll help give it a creamy texture, but it'll also help set too. So
yeah. But yeah, we definitely wanted to set more with this recipe because it's, we're making lemon bars, not lemon curd on shortbread, right?
Okay, so our crust is done.
All right. Let's get a closer look at that.
Timer here, maybe.
And there's going to be a timer going off in 5 hours from now.
Yeah. All right. So now.
You better let Greg know.
What's that?
I said you better let Greg know.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so at this point, we want to gently take our high weights out, right? Gently make sure we don't stick. Oh, there we go. It's nice and set there.
That looks good.
Off to the side. Okay, and then we've got our hot custard here. We've got our hot crust. Right, so let me stir that up a little bit. Evan is talking to me. Okay, so now we're just going to dump that yummy lemon curd right into our crust here. And again, we want to try to stay below the level of our top of our crust. Okay, go.
Yep.
And I didn't pour all that custard in there just because it is a little bit smaller than pan here, but that's all right.
Right? You can save that for later and spread it on some toast in the morning.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah. Now is where you add the butter to it. Then you save it for later.
Yep. Save that, add a little butter, let that melt in there, put it in the fridge, and then in the morning, cook up some toast, spread that on there. Good to go.
I'm going to pop this in the oven here. We want to let that go for about 15 minutes. Okay? And it'll get a little bit of a golden brown on top, maybe around the edges or something, but that's okay because we'll dust it with some powdered sugar after we chill them down. Okay? So now, of course,
through the magic of TV.
Magic of TV, and because I made a batch earlier today. So when they come out of the oven and you let them chill for a couple hours, bam, we get that.
Oop.
And it's nice and set there. Doesn't come out. Ah, can't wait to cut into those. All right, we'll cut into those
That
here
looks delicious.
just a little bit here. We'll go to our soup here. So, all right. All right. We got any?
All right, on to our cold soup on a good snowy day.
Yeah, right. Chilled soup.
Like you said, this will be great for the weekend. Because it's supposed to get back up to into the high 80s, right? So this will
Yeah,
be good weekend brunch soup.
yeah, definitely. All right. So, all right, on our blueberry soup here, our super chilled blueberry soup. All right. We want to start with. I like using frozen blueberries for it, right? So I'm going to do about 4 cups of blueberries here. And this will allow us to get a nice pureed product when we're done, but then we can also scoop out some of these blueberries before we puree it. And then we can garnish our soup with it. So there's 2 cups there. And then, of course, these are great for having for the kids when they want to make smoothies. There's 3 there. All right. And then take 4 there. Okay. Then we're going to add to that, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, all right, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Right, so add that straight into there. Oh man, that looks delicious already. Okay, now to that, to continue our aromatics there, right, we're going to add a little nub of ginger here. So you've all seen me use kitchen grater or kitchen zesters before. All right, microplanes here, and because this is going to be pureed, I mean you could take the peel off if you wanted to. I just grate the whole thing. There's grate some ginger here. All right, knowing that ginger is fairly pungent, gives a nice little sweet spice to your foods, and for this particular dish, we don't need that much of it. So.
Yeah, it's a nice flavor to add to the blueberries though, because it kind of cuts through all that sweetness. Because blueberries and sugar, it's all super sweet. Having that bright ginger flavor is nice to cut through that.
Even with like a cantaloupe soup, you do ginger with cantaloupe as well. That's really yummy. Add that to there. All right. Now we're gonna add some citrus to our blueberry soup there. Right. We're gonna add some orange and some lemon. Okay. So again, I like using the zest. I like trying to use the entire citrus there. So I've always used I have used a microplane, excuse me, in past episodes there. So you could use a microplane on there, all right? But if you didn't have a microplane, let's say you had a peeler, is my favorite Y peeler, right? You could actually just, hope we can see this okay, but
yeah.
All right. Another reason why I like these Y peelers, again, they don't take too much off, right? Is we just want to take a little bit of this strip off of here, right? Just a couple of pieces here, all right? And here, we can use the zest for the peel here of this, right? And then, if you get some white part on there, you can just take a knife and just kind of scrape it off a little bit.
Yeah, and then you can throw the whole thing in there, and then you can pull it out later before you go to zip it.
Yep, if you're feeling adventurous, you can kind of fillet the white stuff off of your peel there. Let me see if I can get the board over here a little bit. I'll move this guy here.
We'll zoom in.
And you lay down your piece of citrus like so. You lay your knife down, and you just go right underneath between the white part and the citrus there and the peel there.
Like you're skinning a fish.
Skinning a fish, that's right. You just take that right off of there.
Because everybody out there skins their own fish, right?
Yeah, that's right. So, a microplane is definitely the best tool for this. I just wanted to share with you all.
Yeah, no, it's not everybody has a microplane, so it's good to see these different ways of doing things.
Yeah, and so with this, because again, because it's going to be pureed, you could definitely throw it in there whole, like Jimmy said, and pull it out before you put it in the blender. But I'm going to cut these up into the smaller strips, because all this is going to get pureed here.
Yeah, it's gonna get blended anyways.
Just going to throw that right into our pot there. We're building all these flavors with this, right? Now we just take our orange that we just zested, right? And I just want to squeeze that. I love fresh orange juice. It's so good. Right, we'll use a nifty little juicer here. You've heard me talk about like having a citrus reamer, or you can use a spoon or a pair of tongs or something. You could always use those as well if you didn't have a citrus juicer. But juicers are definitely one of those things that I like to have. So, have around. I forgot. Does this guy have lemon juice in it? Yeah, juice from 1/2 of a lemon. Okay, so we'll get a lemon here as well. Actually, it's kind of interesting. I had 2 ages of lemons. You can see this one's a little bit darker, a little bit older. This one's a little bit younger, a little bit newer. It's bright yellow. And so I'm going to use the older one here.
Yeah, is that going to change the flavor or anything, or?
I don't think it'll change that much. Nope. I don't think so, but I'm not 100% sure on that one.
No, I don't think so. Unless the lemon had gone so far as to start to ferment on its own.
Sure. Definitely not where you want to go on that. All right, we'll just add our juice straight in. All right, we turn our heat on here. Oh, it's locked. Lock it. Turn off our stove top here. Bring this guy on. We'll put it on high. Right. And all we want to do here is we just want to dissolve our sugar, just make sure that our blueberries are thawed, and make sure that we can puree those things. So we have a spatula here. Spatula, we'll be using them all here.
And if you don't add any heat to this, then a lot of times the sugar won't fully dissolve and would settle at the bottom if you were just to go ahead and puree all this. So, getting some heat on there just so that way all the flavors can meld and all the sugar can get dissolved. That's the purpose of cooking here, even though it is a chilled soup.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, great point. Make sure that sugar is dissolved, and because we have that ginger and the citrus in there, we want to pull all those flavors out too. And, we want to make sure that we pull all those flavorful oils out of the citrus. Make sure we get that nice flavorful ginger.
Looks like we're starting to get a little boil too.
Yeah, look at that.
Coming right along.
On nicely. Oh man, it smells great. Big old pop of ginger there with that orange and lemon in there. Just a quick second there, it kind of reminded me of Christmas. A little bit.
Yeah, with that cinnamon and orange. That's definitely, and ginger. Definitely reminds me of Christmas. I had some stock on last night, and my whole house smelled like Thanksgiving yesterday.
Oh man, love that. I love that smell.
We are getting into the holidays. Maybe we'll probably do some holiday cooking as we get closer, so that way everybody can get prepped and
yeah, absolutely.
Cook along with us if you want to get ready for the holidays.
Absolutely. Did we do that pumpkin spice yay or nay over the weekend? Did we do that?
Oh no, we haven't done that yet.
Okay. that was.
Yeah, we'll put a poll out there for everybody. Pumpkin spice, yay or nay? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you absolutely despise it? Or do you absolutely love it?
Definitely. All right. So while that's kind of simmering there a little bit, I'm going to pull off our spatula here. We're going to check our lemon bars here. Oh man, we're starting to set up. Let me
All right, yeah, let's see those lemon bars if you can.
See something here. So a little jiggle, it's jiggling here a little bit. Not quite set yet. So
just a little bit longer.
Yeah, we know we're set when it doesn't wiggle and jiggle around like that. So I don't know the term to use there, but okay.
Wiggle and jiggle. That's
Wiggle and jiggle.
what it's doing in there.
Yeah, that's what the custard's doing. So, all right. So by this time, our sugar is definitely dissolved. Right. I can smell the ginger in there. I can smell that citrus flavor in there. Okay. So now I'm going to pull over the blender here. Blender over here. We're going to use a different outlet here. Okay. And again, you definitely want to use a ladle or something like that here with this. Let's see, we're going to pull some.
Yeah, and like we've said before, when you're blending hot liquids, make sure you're using a ladle to put everything in there, or if it's a pan you can handle, you can pour it in there. But make sure you cover the top. I've seen too many accidents.
All right, we'll just pull some of these blueberries out here.
Now you're saving those for garnish, right?
Yeah, save those for garnish, and we'll put them in our soup there, so we have a few the blueberry pearls in our soup there. So, and puree the rest, and that will give us our. That'll help thicken our soup too. You know, the pulp from the blueberries will help thicken as well. So I'm just gonna pour this straight into the blender here. All right. Using a Vitamix again. I love those things. And you could definitely use an immersion blender too if you didn't want to have a blender or didn't want to go into a blender, stick blender or immersion blender. Then you can just blend it straight into the pot there.
I would suggest not using a food processor. There's just too much liquid, and if you get up under that blade, it'll just kind of pour out on the inside of your food processor and make a mess all over your kitchen counter.
Yeah, that's not fun to clean up, right? All right, so we've got not quite half full here. Make sure I shove all my ingredients down in. All right, I'm going to secure my lid on here. Like Jimmy said, because this is hot, right? We've created pressure inside of there because we seal this, right? We've created that pressure inside of there, right? So I'll put this on just a little bit loose there and put it on our blender. All right, we're plugged in, but it's turned off. So always be sure that your blender's completely turned off before you plug it in, right? I'm still going to take the precaution of covering the top with a towel, put my hand on it, make sure that lid doesn't blow off of there, okay? Now, because I'm using a Vitamix, we're starting on a lower speed here, all right? We're going to gradually turn up the speed here a little bit. And kind of like the gazpacho soup we made a few weeks ago, we could blend it less, get a chunkier consistency, or we can blend it more and get more of a smoother consistency. All right, so I'm going to blend it more, get a smoother consistency here with this. All right. Let that go a little bit. All right. Let that go. Turn my heat down, or excuse me, turn my speed down, turn it off. Wait for it to totally stop. I'll take it off the base. I'll gently pop the lid here. Maybe.
Yep, that's that heat, getting that seal in there.
Yeah.
See the steam coming up off that?
Oh yeah. At this point, we just have straight blueberry puree basically, like that, right? So, and as this chills down too, it will, it'll thicken up a little bit. The liquids are hot; they're less viscous. But when it cools down, it'll become more viscous, right? It'll become a little bit thicker.
Yeah, the sugar in there, well, like think about it when you heat up maple syrup, it's super liquidy. As it cools down, it has that kind of syrupy texture. Same thing will happen with that in here with the liquids. It'll kind of bind together and pull everything together.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we can, as we spoon it, or as we tilt this off, we can see we've got little specks of blueberry on there. And, you can put it through kind of like that mesh strand that I had earlier with the lemon. curd there. You could pour it through there and catch a lot of that if you wanted a smoother texture. All right, but you probably let it go a little bit longer in the blender too, and that'll help smooth it out a little bit. But, all right, so now check the consistency of that. All right, I like the consistency there. Okay, but now I'm going to add a little bit of richness to it. All right, and a little bit more, a little bit more of a tart flavor to it. All right, and this is obviously going to change the color as well. But I'm going to add a little bit of sour cream to it. Okay,
oh, nice.
So this will make it a little bit lighter in color. It'll give it some richness, right? A little bit more of a tart flavor as well. So add a little bit of that to it. All right.
And for this, if you don't have sour cream, you can use Greek yogurt. You could use creme fraiche. You could even use a little bit of heavy cream.
All right. I'm leaving the plug out here, all right, because I want to be able to see down in here after I've turned it on. I'm still going to cover it with the towel again, hold the lid down, turn it on, blend it up. Look inside of there. Oh, yeah. The sour cream also adds a nice little sheen to the soup, too. So,
Yeah, it kind of gives everything to stick to and bind together, too.
Yeah, so then you remember how dark it was prior to putting the sour cream in. Now it's lightened it up a little bit. Kind of a nice little sheen to it there. Right?
Yeah, and Susan asked if mascarpone would work. Absolutely. That
would be great.
You'll have to blend it a little bit longer, and then make sure you're adding it while everything's still hot. Just that way it kind of melts down and has a chance to meld with everything.
Yeah.
But that would be great. On that same note, you could even use cream cheese. But again, that's a little bit thicker, so you're going to want to regulate how much you're doing because we're making a soup, so we don't want it to become a smoothie.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to take a few of my blueberries here, and then, side note, let me back up a little bit. After you've blended it, you definitely, because it's a chilled soup, right? You definitely want to chill it down for a few hours or even overnight. Now, if you let it chill down overnight, right, because we're dealing with fruit here, right, we'll get some separation of the fruit solids and the liquid. Okay, now if you strain that out, or if you strain out the solids, like I recommended earlier, talked about earlier, you'll get less of that. So just be aware that if you make this, chill it overnight, that before you serve it, you definitely want to stir it up. Make sure that you bring all the solids in the thinner liquid.
Yeah, or even if you prep this the night before and you don't need your blender for anything else, just throw that blender in the fridge, and then when you go to serve it, take it back out, zip it real quick, you're good to go.
That's
Saves you on dishes.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we'll pour some of our blueberries into our bowl here. Need a few there. We'll pour our soup right in. Fruit soups. All right, set that aside there. All right, pull off our base here. And do our little Ziploc piping bag trick again here in a second. But before we do that, let me see how these lemon bars are doing here. Oh, yeah.
A little less jiggle, a little less wiggle.
Oh, yeah. All right. So here we've got the crust is a little bit more golden brown. It's definitely jiggling less here. We've got some cracking here. That's okay. As this cools, it'll kind of settle down and those cracks will close up a little bit. So I'm going to put our guy in the fridge though. So I'm going to let it sit at room temperature here so I don't break that glass in
there. Yeah, don't go with a pan straight out of the oven, straight into the fridge.
Straight into the glass there. So I'm going to move over here to the stove top here for a second. It's not too hot. We're going to
That's the other wonderful thing about induction.
All right. Oh boy, here we go. cutting these lemon bars here and see what we've got.
Can you do that over on the cutting board so we can see?
Oh, I'm sorry about that. You bet. There you go.
There we go.
Okay, so as I'm cutting through this now, it gives nice resistance to the knife with the custard and the crust. All right. And here in the middle. You know, Jimmy, when I used to make things that I had to cut, I was living in North Carolina and had a small catering business out there. My mom would actually come out and help me because she's great at cutting things. I'm horrible at cutting things out of the front.
Yeah, cutting things out of pans in consistent shapes and sizes is definitely a skill.
Yeah, definitely.
But when you sit there and you have to cut 10 pans of these, you definitely you start to get it.
Definitely. All right, I've got here we go.
Now this is where if you use the silicone mat, please, please, please do not cut on the silicone mat.
But when we come out, the pan,
there we go.
got a nice little thin crust here, nice clear edge here on our baked custard there.
And that custard set in really well. And that one you had like 0 cracks. Or did you have some cracks and it kind of settled in like you were saying?
This particular one I cooked, actually baked, didn't have any cracks in it.
Nice. Now here's the Scooby snacks.
Oh, the Scooby snack. There you go. All right. This would be great for like doing a little tea party too. That'd be fun. Do like little shots of blueberry soup with some lemon bars or something. All right. Uh-oh. I fell apart there.
Use that spatula. Get under there.
Cut out the end of that crust there and just have this. Oh, you know what? Before I do this, I'm going to let me cut one more here. I'm going to dust these guys with some powdered sugar here really quick. Cut one more here. That's cool. You just slip right out of there. It's good. It's always a good sign when your bars will slip right out of the pan. Cut this guy a little bit. Yeah, talk about inconsistence.
Now, if you used parchment paper and when you're going to cut and you're missing a piece, make sure to look under there. You don't want to give your guest a piece of lemon bar with a parchment paper and it gets stuck and they have to embarrassingly pull it out of their mouth.
Those guys together there a little bit. I'm going to dust it with a little bit of powdered sugar here. Right.
All right. There we go. That looks good.
Throw our lemon bars on. Put this underneath the camera here in just a second. All right. If we wanted to garnish our soup a little bit with a little bit more of our cream cheese, then find a spatula here. We can
sour cream.
We just put our sour cream right into our plastic baggie. Cut the corner of it. Make a little piping bag here so you can get that. Okay, so I've got a little quart Ziploc bag here.
You know what we haven't shown yet either?
What's that?
You can do a little quenelle.
Oh, here. I can do a quenelle here.
You got a couple spoons on you?
Now,
so those in the industry know what quenelles are, and they either love them or hate them.
Yeah, I'm gonna not try to. I do that better with like butter, and a little bit more stability to them.
Whipped cream.
Yeah. This is where if you have like a small container of some sort, I've got one here, but you put the plastic bag into a container, fold the edges over, like so.
Yeah, like a little pint glass or just a little plastic cup or something, right?
Yeah, and it holds the baggie for you. Try to, it doesn't go all over the place here. Okay, yeah, there we go. Perfect. If you wanted, you could add a little bit of extra sugar to this or some honey or something. Maybe some more citrus zest if you'd like. kind of give your sour cream here a little bit more flavor. You just bunch it up like so. Right, we'll seal it up. Squeeze all the air out of it. Then we'll seal that last little bit up. Basically, you want to push everything down, then you've got this nice little cone shape right here. Right? And we'll take our knife.
Instant piping bag.
Yeah, nice little piping bag here. I need to rinse off my knife, Jimmy. I'm sorry. There we go.
All right, we'll just stare at the lemon bars over here and drool.
Yeah. Well,
If I was there, I'd snatch that one up off the oven there.
I know, right? But yeah, just little lemon bar upside down on the oven there. I'll have some lemon bars here for you tomorrow, Jimmy. All right. And then we just take a little quart-sized bag here. Right? We just want to barely just nip that tip there, just a little bit. Okay, so you put a little bit of pressure on there. So it kind of bulges the tip out there a little bit. Right? Just nip the end there a little bit. Right?
There you go.
And slide our soup over here. Right, now we can get a nice little garnish in there, something like that, a little swirl or something like that, or you could do little dots or something. And then you want to take your, I don't think that's going to work with that. You can take like a toothpick or something and kind of drag it through there and give it like little points, little swirls or something in there. So, but there we go. We've got a super chilled blueberry soup. Warm now because we didn't have time to chill it down. But we've got our super chilled blueberry soup there with ginger and citrus in it, some cinnamon as well. Then we have our lemon bars there with powdered sugar on top. So
Awesome.
that can be
Looks delicious as usual.
a little dessert, or if you want to use it, like I said, for this Sunday morning, you want to have a little brunch outside or something with some sweets. A couple ideas for you to use if you wanted to. So.
Yeah. And so we got a couple of sweet brunch items today. Next week we have some more savory brunch items, right?
Yep.
And then we have a special guest, Katie Strain again. She's going to talk about some good beverage options for brunch. And we're working on the following week, bringing in another guest speaker. Once we get that locked in, we'll let you know who that is next week.
Yeah, so. Trying to get a former student of ours come down, well, not come down, but get on Facebook with us there.
Yeah, and if you're watching out there, you know who you are.
Right. Just came back from Spain. So we'll see. Hopefully we can.
All right.
That'd be great. All right.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Diane says everything looks good. Crystal said everything looks delicious. We got a couple of yums from the Condors over there. Thanks for joining us, Luke. Sharon, Lawrence, thank you for joining us.
Oh, hey, Sharon.
All right. Well, on that note, I think we're just about done, and we'll see you all next week.
I think that's it. That's it. Yep. So I'll be back, or Jimmy and I will be back next week, and we'll do the savory part of brunch next week. And we're going to have a quiche and crab cake, eggs Benedict. Can't wait.
Ooh, that is legit my favorite brunch item ever.
Good.
I love my crab cakes.
Definitely.
You know who else does? Dean Hardegree. She loves her crab cakes too. Maybe we can get her to pop on and just say hi.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that'd be cool. Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well,
everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. Truly appreciate you. And
we'll see you later.
Have a great week, y'all. Thanks.